And the professor's already just like, what is happening? Why are we doing this? We're doing stuff with our hands now, apparently.
I think I'm okay. It's been an interesting 48 hours. I'm fine. I
think you're lying.
We know you're lying. Anyways, we'll talk more afterwards. Let's assuage your worries and your pain because you are now tuned into the most wrestling review show here. I'm just kidding. Hi, we are here live, all you BC WrestlePod nerds out there. And welcome to another rendition of Grapple Gurus. This time, the AEW crew is here to review AEW Revolution, which took place Sunday, March 9th from Los Angeles, California, for lots of you. I am your
review after the time change. My God, man, come on.
My brain hurts. I've been a zombie for 48 hours. Like, I've had a headache since Sunday. It's been ridiculous.
Don't call your wife.
Gotta be careful. She's taking a nap, but I gotta be careful. Anyway,
we might see a on screen, so it'd be like,
if this puppy does one more stupid shit thing,
knock something over.
It's God. Anyway, enough about me. Let's do anything else.
For reals. Speaking of, knocking things over, I am your host, Mikey, and we are here to knock over any criticisms, because we have criticism about certain things. So we're going to tear. I'm looking at you, main event. We're going to tear you apart. But I am your host, Mikey, and joining me this evening, of course, is first and foremost the professor, who, not to put him on blast, but we had an interesting 48 hours for trying to get you to watch the pay-per-view.
Because when I remember with Triller, it sometimes bumps you out or messes up the feed. So I didn't want to do that. And I just decided to troll y'all.
You know that wrestling events are longer than an hour and a half, right?
Well, I had other plans, and I'm trying to do everything. It's not my fault.
I'm just saying, some of us make choices, and we prioritize different things in our lives, and some of us have to, not do fun things.
Isn't this your first episode back in however long? Come on.
Well, I watched it a couple weeks. I've been back for at least 2.
I know.
Oh. What we're saying, Professor, is that JVL was nice enough. I am not going to be nice enough. It's like, you had one job. Just kidding.
No,
you crushed me. That's fine.
Job.
You did the right job because you're still here. So.
I the clips I've watched and stuff, I mean, I have enough to talk about things, but I'm still going to pull it up and cheat a little bit.
I feel like I should call Jesse at this point. I need a bald man that actually watched the show.
Wow, such anger.
There is no anger here.
And, so to balance out the baldness, we also have the not so baldness, but with the mustachioed crusader himself, JVL is here. Hi, JVL. Thank you for being at the watch along on Sunday and watching that whole entire thing with me. It was a long night.
Oh, I'm very happy to have done it for you because now you owe my partner a lot of different favors, which is perfect.
I know. And I am more than happy to oblige to your partner, especially after having to deal with me for the last 2 years.
Ooh.
So before we get into our breakdown of Revolution, if you like what you see here and you want to see more shenanigans behind the scenes and things like that, follow us on the social medias where we do report cards for all the weekly shows and the pay-per-views. You get to watch out-of-context clips that will surely not come to haunt us down the line when we're trying to apply for other things. And we also have merchandise, link in the description below. So, yeah, without further ado, we have a lot to get through. So, this is how it's going to go. So, we're going to start with 0 Hour. I'm just going to give hey, listen, Ginger. I'm just kidding.
I am not Ginger.
I've been through many things in my life, sir, but never Ginger.
Sir, I was like, listen here, you mustachio crusader. This is how 0 Hour is going to go. I'm going to give a sentence. If anyone cares to join in, if not, we will move on before we get to the main card because I don't feel like spending 30 minutes or so doing this. So, here we go. Here's what you missed on 0 Hour. Pretty decent. Yeah. Commander and Hologram win against Lee Johnson and Blake Christian. No more to say to that.
No.
This actually progressed the story between Adam Cole and Daniel Garcia at the expense of Shane Taylor Promotions. But it was also a fun match. I'll have to say, the infantry got a lot of offense in, and I'm actually kind of here for it. They were great.
The infantry fodder, that's the problem.
Yeah, that's the other thing, too. But this was a fun match. This progressed the story between Daniel Garcia and Adam Cole, who are still fighting for this TNT championship. So, cool. Waste of my time.
That wasn't a match.
No, yeah. This was not a match. We thought we were getting a match.
Please, just go.
Learning Tree beat up 2 luchadors. So, colonizers. Yeah. That is all. I'm so mad. Stupid comedy wrestling, but great. This was actually really fun. And that has been 0 Hour.
I did see that last match on 0 Hour as I was fighting with Triller.
Love
it. We don't have to talk about it long. Like, everyone who was involved in this, I have no idea who Big Boom AJ is or why the hell he's there. But this was super fun. 15 minutes as I was fighting with Triller.
This is his second match. He had a one on 0 Hour for Full Gear in November too. So,
and he's a friend of QT Marshall's.
And he is also a YouTube personality too. So this is YouTubers done right.
Oh, that's
I guess.
Right. That's
Important XM collection though.
They were hilarious. Mason Maddox stole the show for me. He is the AEW version of Orlando Jones from TNA back in the day, but done right. Yeah. All right, so that was 0 Hour. Now let's get into why we're really here. The main card. So there were 9 matches. Most of them I enjoyed, except for like 1 or 2, which we'll get into when we get there.
Just 2. It's really just 2.
I have questions as we go through here, but why are you mad?
I'm not mad.
Such anger.
Disgust.
Am I disgusting now? This took a shift.
Wow.
This took a turn.
I'm just saying, you know, I give and I give for 2 weeks and nothing from you. It's really what it is.
I didn't even say that. I didn't even go that far.
I don't even come back. I just laugh like, oh no.
That's okay, Professor.
You don't completely joking with you. That's the nice part, hopefully. But
that's okay, Professor. We treat you right on WWE. Anyways, so main card time. We got a lot to discuss, so let's just jump straight into it. We kicked off Revolution with our first match of the night, which was MJF versus Hangman. Still aggro, question mark, Paige?
Aggro enough. I mean, between the fact that he opened Max up the hard way with his belt buckle and a power bomb and then, you know, took him to town. Yeah, I think so.
Why does MJF look like a Las Vegas magician in this photo?
Mind freak. Just kidding.
It just has that sort of like, now playing at the MGM.
It's the steeple figures. It fully is.
It's like,
that'll do it.
Yes.
My goodness.
Pretty good back and forth opener. This was got the crowd right where it needed to be. Hangman had a good amount of comeback he had to do as a babyface comeback, and there was fire there for it. This is a good opening match.
I guess we call this a grudge match of some sort. They like MJF being MJF and doing Healy things leading into this, beating up no longer corporate Christopher Daniels to a bloody pulp, and then getting Hangman's face. And also calling out the crowd to be like, this guy set a man's house on fire and stuck a syringe through somebody's face, and y'all are cheering for him.
Yeah. Did someone get hurt? And the thing that I was reading about this, someone took a face plant and messed up their face here, right?
Oh, yeah. MJF coming off of, I don't know, it was...
Oh, God, I just saw it. Holy shit.
Or something, he landed completely wrong.
There was a moment where I thought Hangman may have knocked himself out when we went into the chair spot with MJF. I'm like, oh God, no. But
they worked the safest out of everything on the night, which is
really?
They did.
All right.
See, this is why you need to watch, because when we get into it, I didn't include pictures because I didn't want to get demonetized. But let's say I think between the steel cage and the Hollywood ending match, we may have donated like 15 bags of blood by the end of it.
The photos I saw, we'll talk about it when we get there, look like a horror movie. I can't wait.
Think photos will get us demonetized. I'm pretty sure video would, but photos shouldn't.
I'm not
me flipping my camera around right now to show you.
You can see it on the resolution on your nice
cameras. Don't do it. But Hangman Page does pick up the victory here. I agree with JVL that this was a very strong opener and this was a fun opener. So I'm going to be repeating this statement as we go through the rest of this. So we'll see what's next for both MJF and Hangman Page.
I don't know where either of them go at this point until we figure out the thing with Kenny and Okada for that combining the titles there. Because right now they're not in any other picture.
No. They have a lovely moment here talking to each other. Did you all clock that?
You could tell they were calling it on the fly for a lot of that match.
They're having a whole conversation here. The camera's not cutting away. I kind of love that. That's cool.
I know that they've talked about this before, at least with these two guys. They have told people what they said, and or at least in kayfabe, and it's them just jawing at each other the whole time, like telling them how much they suck. So,
I'm sure.
It's so good.
These two are great. I love both of them. I think they're fantastic. I'll go rewatch the crux of this. This is a good, cool ending.
Also, big shout out about 4.5 minutes in, the water that's in Hangman Page's hair finally dries out, and his hair goes full frizz.
It's so good.
That's kind of great. Yeah,
I loved it.
He's got a lovely little Cocker Spaniel thing going here at the end.
As opposed to MJF looking like he was a reject from the House Party movies in the 90s.
Oh my God. MJF looked rough by the end of this. I was like, his ring gear was falling apart. Like the knee pads just wouldn't stay on correctly.
The tanner was flaking and like coming off of him.
Oh man. And something happened to Hangman's shoulder, whatever that left a dent on him. Yeah, so, MJF got hit he got dropped right on his nose, and whatever that spinning, not quite a blue thunderbomb thing was. Jeez.
Yeah, according to the reports, no one thankfully got super hurt, but a lot of people did get banged up, which we'll talk about in a little bit of why.
Momo got decently super hurt from kicking too much ass. I mean,
for reals. Well, speaking of Momo, let's just go to her next because we have we had our TBS Championship match as our second match of the evening. So Mercedes Moné defending her title against Stardom's Momo Watanabe. So the way this match came about is back in January at Wrestle Dynasty, which saw AEW, CMLL, ROH, and Stardom's, however they wanted to decide it, pick their representative.
Yeah, Wrestle Dream, yeah.
At Wrestle Dream. And Momo ended up winning that fatal 4-way, defeating Athena, Willow Nightingale, and from CMLL Persephone to get a championship match for, well, basically any championship that she wanted, and she chose the TBS championship. So we've seen these.
She was going to lose.
Yeah, which as soon as she did, I was like, you could have just picked the New Japan Strong, but that's okay. So as soon as Momo said she was going to get the TBS championship, I was like, and there it is. She's not winning. So I got the chance to watch this pay-per-view twice, one during the watch along, and then I watched it yesterday with my friend Uriel. So I didn't hate this match upon second watch through, but I still have issues with it.
They're calling it in the ring the whole time too, and it's not working.
No, it is not. Like, we spend a good, 7 minutes with them just kind of testing each other out, doing dance off for some reason. Of course, the crowd is fully behind Momo, which was nice to see, but yeah.
Momo was hitting her hard. Those kicks on the apron, that was solid. That power, that flex.
One of her big kicks in it, though, she either ruptured her ACL or her ankle, where she actually was on crutches after the match from kicking too hard into Mercedes.
No shit. Wow.
But also, Mike, you did bring up during the watch along, you thought it was very interesting that Momo usually is clad in black, is in a very dark stable in Stardom, and somehow she's in gold and white tonight, which makes no sense, and it looked like she had a giant fried egg on her butt.
It kind of threw me for a loop, because for those of you who do not follow Stardom or watch Stardom, Momo Watanabe is part of the faction Hate, and they're always clad in black and just basically look like rejects from Hot Topic, but in the best way possible.
Isn't that the Golden Corral logo? Is the egg that looks like the setting sun?
It looks like Gudetama, if anyone knows, can knows that reference from something there. But the other part that we talked about too was because our friend Nick jumped on the feed with us and was watching for a bit, and his wife was asking what Mercedes was going to be dressed up as this time, because obviously she divorced her husband who was making her gear for years, and she came out dressed as a Converse All-Star, which is just very interesting to see that many laces in the wrong places.
I was like, we were doing so okay with the ring gear, and then that happened. But Momo did great. Mercedes did fine. But it's the same thing that I bring up all the time. I do think her matches have gotten better since she came into AEW. I mean, her 2 matches against Stat were great. I thought this was fun. But honestly, I think we're really just having Mercedes run through this roster until she beats Jade's record. I really think that's what it is.
Yeah, because it really does bother me. What bothers me the most about Mercedes matches are not that she can't work, and she's pretty decent on the mic. It's that when you get to the end point, and this is what you have with wrestlers that don't have a good finisher or any finisher, if you don't have something that can get the crowd on board or that you can do on everybody, it just takes too long and takes away from the momentum you've got. Her gory bomb, flippity dippity, sidewinder, flatliner really doesn't work. And for the former bank statement or anything else she does, it's really just I have to see if I can get you on my back, walk you around for a while, and then hope you don't break out of it when it's very convoluted. And I feel like for her, she needs to have something quick, dirty, that can get her into her submission, or that can drop someone either on their head or something worse, because she's all about agility everywhere else in her entire moveset. She's not about strength. And this is a strength move.
Well, the other issue that I had is that we knew that Mercedes was going to win. So spoiler, she retains the championship. I just wish it was a little bit closer in the sense, because I felt like it was a 70-30 offense ratio. Momo did a lot of the work and did all the moves, whereas Mercedes used very limited of her moveset into this match until the very end, when then she threw out, the bank statement to make Momo tap, and then the money maker, however you want to pronounce it. I still hate the setup for that. Like you said, it takes way too long. It's way too much. Well, I was like, go for it.
You're right in that fact that Momo had 70% of the offense. She was a babyface in this match. Isn't the heel supposed to do most of the work to beat up the babyface so they have a comeback?
Everything I'm jumping through was Momo looking strong. Mercedes Moné upside down, getting kicked. I'm pretty sure that looked like an ACL tear to me. That was devastating. There's a missile drop kick right after that where that was all gas, no brakes.
Yeah. I know it's New Japan, but Joshi Mercedes is actually kind of great. And that's not what I got from here. And I was so disappointed because I'm like, these two already had a match and that match was fantastic.
It's almost like when you had AJ Styles versus Shinsuke in WWE. It was a WWE style match and it didn't work.
Don't remind me because we also got the dick punch from Eternity and that ruined that match at Mania.
Yes. But yes, Professor, that was that match in a nutshell. Mercedes retains and no follow-up, no nothing else, no setting up anybody else for her title. So she still is the collector.
We did have Billy Stark watching on, so that might be the next person, which makes me happy but sad at the same time.
Well, and then on ROH, apparently I found it on socials today, Athena is still having to answer to where Billy is, and people are very upset that she's not there right now. So,
and Diamante is now a minion, apparently. That's the thing that also bothered me.
Yeah.
But anyways, so the first two matches, well, MJF and Hangman Page, pretty solid. This one, it was all right. I will state, though, from this moment on, things started to progressively get better in terms of flow of things. And, my overall enjoyment was, withheld and sustained throughout the next couple of matches, which started off with this one right here. This was a number 1 contenders match for the AEW World Championship. So this was Swerve When I Drive, Strickland, and Ricochet, or Trevor the Vampire, as we call him now.
Trevor.
He's a vampire.
I love it so much. But this was a number 1 contenders match, but this was also to try to get Nana's coat back. I'm gonna be honest, Nana, you had like the entirety of the match to just grab and run. Like Ricochet wasn't paying attention for most of this.
I was just gonna make that comment.
I was like, sure, you had one job.
Well, it's like a ladder match. He can only get so far so fast just because kayfabe, and he can't put his hand directly on it for most of the match.
Go tell Leslie Jones to go pick it up and just take it. She's right there.
One of my favorite parts in terms of celebrities at that event. I was like, listen, the way I loved it so much. Leslie Jones is that one auntie at the basketball game. She's cheering on the nephew and she's gonna talk all this mess, and I was here for it. Also, Ron Funches was in the crowd too, and we know he's a big wrestling fan. There's a lot of celebrities, and you know what? I kind of dug how fun they were all having. It was great to watch.
Really fun watching Swerve and watching Trevor jawing back with Leslie Jones the entire time when he's got Swerve in a couple of headlocks. It was just so much fun. And they paced this out really well. Didn't overuse a lot of the aerial attacks. There was a good back and forth where they both did a house call at one point, which was amazing. I could watch these two wrestle all night, and no matter who won this, it was going to be a good match.
It was set up perfectly. No, even towards the beginning of the match, there was a little bit of miscommunication. Swerve got a little too heated. He pushed Nana down to the floor, and then Nana just gave him the bird and walked away and went upstage. So Swerve was by himself for a little bit of the match. Then it was a ruse Nana comes back out, gets the coat, gets jumped on through the middle ropes from both Swerve and Ricochet, or Trevor the Vampire, and then the coat gets taken off. But the ending sequence was great. We had kickouts, finishers. It took two house calls to finally get it in. So your winner and new number 1 contender for the AEW World Championship is Swerve Strickland. And of course, they got the coat back, gave it to Nana. Swerve and Nana seem to be on the same page for now.
Even though it's got Ricochet stuff all over the coat.
Oh, that's the other thing. Ricochet stuck his the logo into the coat, which was so disrespectful, but I loved it.
That dead eye onto the table that doesn't break looks crazy. Damn.
That's going to be on Botchamania this week. I called it there because it's not going to. Yeah, I can't believe. And not the worst table spot of the night. Still, even that's the Takeshita Omega match.
Oh,
we'll talk about that.
But yes, and this also sets up what Tony Khan thought would be the go-home happy angle later in the night, because booking was stupid for the end of the show. But we'll get to that.
This is why I wish you watched it, Professor, because I want to see you be mad with us, but that's okay.
I might get mad.
I watched this pay-per-view. This was a to A+ pay-per-view up until the final match, and that dropped it down to about a B just because of that final match. But everything else on the card kept it up. So. Yeah, if the final match had been put in the middle of the card, this would have been a pay-per-view.
Oh, absolutely. It was, the ending really soured it, but we'll get there because we're going to continue talking about the good things.
We need Brody much better than it had any reason to be.
Right, but I think that's a testament to, Okada's pretty good, but Brody's always so damn good in the ring. Brody has never missed for me, honestly.
How did they get anime flames in Okada's hands?
He was born with it. It's Maybelline.
No, maybe it's Japanese. Yeah, he just has that power. Wow.
He does, but the two of them together worked really well. Even with Okada, I think it was on either a rope bump or something else, cuts open his left bicep and is bleeding all underneath his armband, getting it everywhere else, which had to be a friction burn. These two beat 7 styles of crap out of each other, and weirdly enough, they only knew about 5 coming into this match. And so it just was bizarre to see that. And then,
gosh, the ending was so good. But yeah, also, by the way, this is weird to point out, but I said this during the watch along too, because Brody wrestled in wrestling pants, which we normally don't see him do that often. He's usually in his shorts, but he wore the pants in. I kind of want them because I really love the design of the chains wrapping around with the distressed and faded paint. It was so good. Brody's just great. Okada was fantastic.
We do have to let you know, Professor, though, it was quite funny in the watch along. You won't hear this. Jesse doesn't know Okada very well and saw his finisher and was like, that is the wimpiest finisher I've ever seen for Ripcord Lariat.
Jesse is not a fan of the Rainmaker as a finisher.
Okada taking those Brody King chops, you could see the skin rising in the clip that I just saw. Boom, and he screams, and you could see the skin going off. It was oh my God.
Top of that too, let's also recap. Okada got a full Brody King body across with him sitting in a chair against Barry the Barricade. And then we also got 2 cannonballs from Brody King in the match too. I don't know if AEW would truly do intergender, but I want to see Willow and Brody King fight just cause.
Damn.
Or have Brody train her. That'd be amazing.
Just seeing their sparring on video would be amazing. But yes, overall, a very good mid-card match for a title there. They put everything into what they needed to. They carried the story well. And Okada worked his way out from under the mass of Brody King, which is amazing.
It is great. And for some reason, even in Brody King losses, it never really keeps him down for long because he's always involved in something in the AEW television universe. So it's always great. So it does retain his Continental Championship. This was fantastic. Also, the guy with the sign who had Okada's face with the meme and then in Japanese, lettering, just spelling out the word bitch was amazing.
So good. The dog on the towel was, but that's beside the point.
Wow. Yeah, that was the weirdest sign of the night. But anyways, this match was fun. It was a good mid-card match, as you say, JVL. This was fantastic. I don't care what nobody says. I was entertained.
Oh my God, yes.
It was a little sloppy, but I don't care.
If you're bleeding from a friction burn, that's crazy. I just saw the sign. The sign just popped up near the end here. This looks brutal. And this was just
So is this one, though, overall. And when you have people that make the Outrunners look tiny, it's hysterical.
But yeah, I have to shout out to them. Also, his running knee strikes, the way that he sells how awful that sounds to get knee struck upside, right here underneath the chin when he does the run up, is so good. Also, Outrunners, you will forever have my heart. You guys are wacky, ridiculous, and I love you for it. This was fun.
The crowd loved the Outrunners. They were behind every bit of it. And yes, this ended up being kind of a squash at the end, but they worked so well and they had fun with it. The Hurt Syndicate allowed the Outrunners to get their stuff in. And, we had the cameo by Leo Rush and Action Andretti down there on the side while it was going on, thinking that Leo Rush would either be staring at Bobby's butt or yelling something in the crowd, but he didn't. But in general, it was a well-paced tag match. It was a good tag match.
So I'm pretty sure that means that for the time being, we probably will get Leo and Action versus the Hurt Syndicate next, which is a good filler feud to figure out if they're going to do anything with them for a Double or Nothing, or it might just be a dynasty match between that team. But I'm enjoying Hurt Syndicate's run as tag team champs. I'm still sad that Private Party had to lose to them, but that's neither here nor there.
You love them too much. You honestly
no. And Outrunners eventually, I think, will get the tag team championships. I still think they could get them by the end of 2025, but right now, Hurt Syndicate is about to destroy the tag team division, which I'm cool with. We also have the Murder Machines running around somewhere too, so who knows? We might get Bobby and Shelton versus Lance and Brian Cage, so that also would be fun.
I got hooked watching this, by the way. This looks fun as hell. I was all in after the VHS tape 3:2 ratio.
Yep.
Jesse
was as well.
They were great together.
Yeah.
That works like an actual tag team.
And tag team matches that work like tag team matches. This is a bit of a squash at the end. They just crush them.
Yeah, they end up running him roughshod, but that's to be expected. They got a lot in, though. It was nice.
It was a lot of fun.
Everybody and Bobby just looks so good, though. Anyway, yes, I'll stop.
I had such a great time with this match. And I was smiling by the end of it. I was like, good job. This was fantastic. All 4 people in this match get their flowers. So let's go on to our next match. Oh my God. Yes.
This should have been the main event.
So then the show.
Okay, so let's get through the news of this and why, and then we'll talk about the match itself. So in the post scrum, because the last 4 matches of the card, Tony Khan said during the scrum that, honestly, when he was asked how come Tony and Mariah didn't main event, Tony said that, well, any of these 4 matches could have main evented. And so we had 4 main events, which I was like, which equates to a cop out. Tony, I love you, but that was a cop out. Okay, Professor, let me blow your mind a little bit, because me and JVL love this match. This was my match of the night. I don't care what nobody says. I see some people always, whenever a women's match ends up being the best match on the card, there's a lot of people who try to discredit it, saying that people are overblowing it. I was like, no, I'll tell you why it is not overblown. They were only given 12 minutes, Professor, for all the stuff that they had in this match. This was only a 12-minute match.
That's some bullshit.
Well, the event went on for almost 20-something.
So let me break it down for you. So this was a 12-minute match. Takeshita and Kenny, 28 minutes and 36 seconds. Will and Kyle, 28 minutes and 15 seconds. Cope versus Moxley, 26 minutes and 23 seconds. The last 3 matches got almost double the amount of what Mariah and Tony did, and they still made this my match of the whole entire night.
They told a better story. They went all balls in. No pun intended. They definitely did that. We had Toni Storm gigging herself like Eddie Guerrero in the middle of the 2000s.
She gigged herself too deep, Professor, and she was crimson masked by within 3 minutes.
Those are the photos I saw. I'm coming up on that right now. I just saw the running Thunderbomb off the stage onto tables and cords.
She gigs herself down by the ring when they get to the ring.
Yeah, so let's do a play-by-play, because within 12 minutes, they packed in a lot, which is why I wish this main evented. And could you imagine if they were given 15 to 20 minutes to space all the stuff they did out?
Well, on top of the fact that just the visual for the end of the show, when they pull back and it says "The End" on the Tron.
So, okay, this is the one match I will do a play-by-play for, because it was that good. So Mariah makes her entrance. She looks like a disgruntled bride, which I loved. Tony comes out. Mariah runs up. They begin fighting. There's already a DDT on top of the stage after they try to get thrown out. A taser comes out within 2 minutes of the match. Luther takes it away. Mariah is able to catch herself from slipping, and she kicks Luther into a pyramid of champagne glasses on the table on the stage. So that was great. That's the first 3 minutes. And then Toni Storm grabs Mariah May and basically throws her through the table off the stage. So that was the first 3 minutes. Tony and Mariah make their way to the ring. And within the rest of the match, we get chairs. We get a chain. Toni Storm gigging herself too hard, and she's bleeding all over the place. We had a hip attack from Mariah with a chair onto Tony. Then
just got to the Crimson Mask.
Wow, that doesn't even look real.
But it is the wow. And it's not just Tony too. We're going to talk about Mariah in a little bit, because she also was covered in red by the end of this too. But then after all of that, we get into the crazy spot where both women take out a bucket full of glass. They wrap their hands in duct tape, dip their hands in glass.
No, they did the Kumite thing. Did they do the Kumite?
Yeah, they got gaff tape and did it.
They're like, cool, but it gets crazier.
Then they spread the glass from the buckets on the ring, and we're dumping each other on that stuff.
Power bomb, storm zeros. Then Mariah with the bottle,
shoving a broken bottle. It was crazy.
She can't even see. How can she see?
The overhead's so crazy.
You can see when the adrenaline kicks in and she finally can stand up straight, and she keeps going. It's nuts. We had all that stuff on there. They battle all around. There were a couple of chains that came out. We had another run back up the ramp. The shoe reappeared, and she gouges out Mariah May with the shoe. And they end it on the Hollywood table. Storm Zero through the table, laying on top of each other. Toni Storm pins her, and we cut to the end as she is
on the Titantron, like an old Hollywood font and everything. This is such beautiful. And on top of that too, Toni gets her lick back before going to the table spot, because then she takes the belt and starts whipping Mariah with it, like Mariah did to her when
Gold
she
side
turned
down. Gold
side down. This is like, that replaced it because that was my forever favorite. This is now my new favorite because this is the ending of this current chapter of this feud. This is a story we've been telling for the last year and a half. This, to me, within the last couple of years, this will go down as the best women's story that professional wrestling across any promotion has ever had.
With what they have built in these 3 big rubber matches for me, Mikey, is these 2 will now be forever linked. Like Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens, they can run this back anytime they want. They can bring the 2 together. They have instant beef, and they will go.
This might be one of the better hardcore matches of the last year or so.
That's what I'm saying. But the AEW women always bring it with the hardcore. Like, this is my favorite, but like, there is still like my favorite AEW hardcore matches. Most of them are all the women's matches we had. Yeah. Like, again, like last year we had the Chris Statlander, Willow Nightingale, like street fight at All Out. Lest we forget to the bunny and like bleeding all over the place. Like lights out between. Yeah. Oh, it's so good.
But I'll say this also, this was bloodier than the cage match, which had all the types of stuff in there.
Yeah, it's amazing.
This is bloodier than the Terry Funk tribute.
Yep. What blood?
This is bloodier than the Halloween match, Halloween belt thing too. That, oh my God, this is great.
It's a massacre, and it's still has the storyline in it. They're both still telling an amazing back and forth. They're pulling out all the stops and putting their bodies on the line, and they stole the show, and this should have ended the night. As I was yelling at Mikey on the watch along, that's real glass on the canvas, and we have to go to a Kenny Omega match next. Are they going to roll up the canvas quick in the 10 minutes we have? Are they going to be able to get all this off the outside? Or are they going to fall on more glass? Like, why is this the last? This should be the last match.
Man, this was crazy, and this ended up being my match of the night. And it's on my short list for matches of 2025.
I've seen half of it. I'm ready to put it on my list for 2025.
You got to watch the whole thing when you get the chance. This is the one that I feel like you should watch.
I've just been letting it ride since we were talking, and I guess I'm halfway through because it's only 12 minutes. This is beautiful.
It's a shame that it was only 12 minutes.
Okay,
but within that 12 minutes...
I can't screenshot this, can I?
No problem.
No, I don't think it's going to let me. Oh, yeah, it did. Can I show a photo? Is it going to mess anything up?
No, it should be fine.
He doesn't want to.
Go for it. It's fine.
Oh, it's not going to let me.
Is this the shot overhead when you look at her and it's like the cameras are tweaking out?
She is staring directly at that camera. You cannot tell me otherwise.
This is one of the craziest things I may have ever seen.
Yes. That is the shot we're talking about. Like, moneymaker. It is a thing of beauty.
Oh my God. No wonder the internet's going crazy. Okay.
It is so good. And then, like I said before, people are saying that the internet is blowing this match out of proportion. I was just like, it's because it's a women's match. If this was a men's match, I don't think you all would complain. Because then I look at Kyle and Will, and I don't see anybody complain.
If this was a John Moxley match, no one would bat an eye.
Right, but...
Well, what's interesting is I found Kyle and Will clips everywhere. I didn't find this anywhere. I saw screenshots, and I saw like 30 seconds here and there. I saw the shoe bit that's here at the end.
Yeah, but you didn't see the Taipei death match with the glass.
No.
It's so good.
I love that movie. I want to see Kumite every week. Come on.
So I love that that's your reference to that, which I know that that's part of it. My reference for that is Hot Shots Part 2.
Oh, with the sprinkles?
With all the candy stuff.
Still a good reference.
Yeah. Give these flowers. They have told the best story in any promotion for any women's division. And again, if the reports are true, I need RJ City to get a raise and be more involved in women's writing. Like, holy crap. Listen, if this was the brainchild of these two plus RJ City.
I know what you just saw.
It was the glass spot, wasn't it? Yep.
It's either that or it was Mariah May getting dumped on her head and then coming like up with the actual stuff on her face.
Yep.
It's one of the two.
I just jumped ahead. I'm at the last seconds of face-to-face blood with heel shoe.
Yep.
You're digging it in.
It's so good.
No. Oh, God.
Well, be prepared, Professor, because we're going to go from one bloody match. We get a little bit of respite. We go from a bloody match to a very hard-hitting match.
Her face. Neither of them have a face.
No,
and it is just we're not seeing any clips online.
Fair.
The internet does not like very Crimson Mask individuals.
We'll get them when they're made black and white by somebody.
I mean, Instagram doesn't have that problem, but that's besides the point. But geez, this match ruled. And again, we go into our next match, which was hard hitting. This was this was New Japan-ish strikes and everything. My little New Japan heart got its heart fulfilled during this match, but we had an AEW International Championship match. Konosuke Takeshita defending his title against Kenneth Omega. Okay, so JBL. So we were both commenting on the ring gear of both Takeshita and for Kenny Omega. Come to find out, these two are both wearing ring gear of the final episode of this boxing anime called Hajime no Ippo. And so Kenny was the hero of the anime, and Takeshita was wearing the trunks of the villain or the final boss of the anime. It was so good.
Nice.
I respect that.
And by God, these two beat the piss out of each other.
I will say there was only one thing that dragged this match down a little bit for me, and that was Dom Fallis on commentary.
Yeah, Don Fallis did not need to be there. I was like, what is happening? Don, don't just
let them hit each other as hard as they can.
And by howdy, they did. I love that Takeshita kept hitting Kenny's stomach throughout the whole entire match.
He knew.
Selling the fact and us being told, diverticulitis. Also, when I thought Kenny got impaled by the table was also a very frightening moment.
That's what I'm waiting for Professor to come on because I want to talk about that. That is the table spot that I was like, oh, for the night. Like both drops he got on there and almost landing on the legs. And also these two, it wasn't a hardcore match. It wasn't anything like that. This was a full-on, they dragged a bunch of the stuff from their DDT days into this. There was a lot of good back and forth and a lot of kickouts that were really interesting places, including Kenny kicking out after a big strike. But then I caught this, and I hope you caught it at the same time, because I know I told you afterwards. Because the ending part of this match was an homage to the original last person that held this for so long. It was the mousetrap pin Kenny won with, was an homage to Orange Cassidy.
Yeah, which was the crazy part, and we talked about it as we were getting prepared for our next match. While commentary was doing their thing, and then they went in and interviewed some of the actresses and the director for Queen of the Ring. But Kenny didn't win with the one-winged angel. He didn't win with the V-trigger. He won paying homage to one of the best international champions that AEW has had in Orange Cassidy with the mousetrap pin.
But the other thing, Professor, I was waiting for you to get back on. This was the match that had the table spot that was the worst of the night because it was actually two.
So, is this the what looks like a suplex into it from a
kind of, yeah. So there's one where he lands. They flip the table over and he lands on the metal railing on his stomach. So the metal rail around the table, flat on the ground.
Gross.
No protection. Then they flip it on its side and they again drop him on his stomach because he's going after his diverticulitis on it twice. Then there was a knockoff where he almost fell impaled onto the actual legs. So a little scary.
That's not good. He just flipped the table upside down. I jumped ahead a little bit.
Watch. Here it goes.
This looks gross. Okay.
It's in Lifetime. We're going to watch this as the professor sees it.
It's going to hurt.
It's going to hurt. And it is okay if you hold your own stomach, because that's what I did during the watch along too. See?
You think of what that does to your stomach? That does to your stomach.
We love to see it.
Yeah, no. Ugh.
He's grabbing, but he grabs the pelvic bone, the outer hip bone. No, that's just mean.
Yeah.
Oh, this is messed up.
Yeah, it's got messed up. Very much.
Yeah. And then from that point on, Takeshita kept going after that by hitting him, punching him. That part, Kenny's stomach, it made me second guess. I was like, oh God, I don't know. Oh God, Kenny. Oh God.
Don Callis jumping up and down like a cheerleader is kind of dumb. But other than that, this is funny. Not funny, funny. Oh God, look at the pain.
Yes, exactly.
Oh man. Yeah.
Well paced out. And I mean, I don't know if they needed the full 30 minutes for this. It could have been given to Tony Storm, but it still flowed. There weren't any small spots that I could tell there was a miscommunication or we got our breathers in there, but it wasn't too bad.
No, this was a fantastic match. Kenneth Omega is your new international champion, so that is also great, which obviously sets up, it's got to be Kenny versus Okada at Y'all in 2025.
To put those titles together.
Yeah.
And Kenny is definitely doing, as he's come back down, he is selling that diverticulitis area as a target now, and he's using it where he can't get people up for the one-winged angel, all that stuff. It's really, he's doing a lot of good storytelling with it. So I'm really happy he's back.
No, and this match still also, we talked about, protected Takeshita because the mousetrap pin was what got him and not a finisher. So, man, Takeshita has had such a fun run with this championship too, given the fact that he's actually gone over international places to defend this thing in Mexico, in Japan. His track record of his opponents have been really good. Speedball Mike Bailey, Josh Alexander in Canada, Tomohiro Ishii at New Japan, which was fantastic, by the way. That match at Dynasty was great. He's also fought in Mexico, literally 2 weeks. He defended the never open weight, but he still had the international championship. There's blood all over the place. And to see him cry being accepted by the Mexico audience was such a thing of beauty to watch for Takeshita. I'm ready for him to hold the AEW World Championship within the next year or two. Like, I think Takeshita has definitely earned it, and I cannot wait. So good. This match was amazing. It's fantastic.
Very much. Oh my God.
Talking about bloody messes once again. Like, geez Louise. I wasn't sure how we were going to end this match, but I think we have, just like with Mariah and Tony, in a shorter amount of time, I think this is the separating point between these two for now.
But also, why was this second to last? Again,
God, it was bad booking, I should say, because the crowd was dead by the.
You can't follow this. You barely could follow Mariah and Tony. You can't follow this.
I feel like now I would have put it maybe a little bit earlier in the show, but at the same time, I feel like any match afterwards was going to have a tough time anyways after this.
Yeah.
But damn, this match was also brutal as hell. I will say it took a couple minutes to get it revved up because it started off slow and methodical.
Well, I loved that about it because Will.
No, that's what I'm saying. I do too.
He spent the first 3 or 4 minutes showing the crowd, hey, I do a lot of aerial stuff. It's hard for me to get up behind the ropes to get where I do this for the springboard stuff. I don't know if I'm going to have my full arsenal to take on Kyle. It was beautiful to set it up that way.
But this match had everything that I wanted from a steel cage. We had crazy spots. Will and Kyle ended up bleeding. Will also wearing a crimson mat throughout this match too, which was wild.
The 2 spots I saw that are all over the internet right now are the bat spot. And
Mark Davis bringing in the bat, and
the tax. That tax spot looks crazy.
But the craziest spot of the night, which had me and JVL worried when we talked about it afterwards, is when Kyle and Will get to the very top of the cage, and Will gives Kyle a Spanish fly from the very top of the cage onto the mat. And he lands
at the end.
It's the last move, yes.
So they climb up to the very top. We're gonna let you get there, and then when we'll see your face.
It's how he lands. But also, they landed on tacks there because tacks were everywhere still. Between that and what was it? It was a Styles Clash on the tacks, which is like, holy mother.
See?
Sorry about that. Hang on.
But yeah, too far. This was a very great way to end this, as the rubber match of this 3-match feud.
Okay. Why? Oh no. So this has to be it.
Are they at the top of the cage?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. They're walking on that, by the way, too, to get set up.
Hugging and holding each other.
Okay, watch
how Ospreay lands.
Yeah, watch how he lands. And then watch it in the replay too, because the replay does the better.
And the replay, Ospreay hobbles out of the ring and hobbles up the ramp, and we can't tell if he's fully selling or that just crippled.
Ooh, it's all hip and shoulder.
Hip pointer right on it from 20 feet up onto.
How about for the 3rd time? At least he missed the tax.
Barely, yeah. No.
Barely.
But between that, Mark Davis got involved. I don't even know if he needed to get involved for this, but it was a nice way to put the United Empire together, including that like sympathy spot when he pulls out the armband from his junk.
Also, I need Kyle Fletcher to go test himself for hepatitis after this, because the amount of things he licked in this match, Professor. He licked the cage. He licked Will Ospreay's blood. He licked his own blood.
Wow.
So I was just like, damn.
But again, blood feud story. They had the screwdriver bit in there as well too. Dom Fallis. It was a schmoz shenanigan match.
That's a big jump.
It was great. This
looks killer. Yeah. So now I know that they have to go much.
Yeah. So those 3 are like the definite must watches for sure, because those were the 3 strongest matches, in my opinion, of the card.
Finish listening to us. Go find that. Watch at least those 3 matches. You have an hour to yourself today. You got plenty of time.
It is fantastic. I loved it. These 3 matches were great. All right. We delayed the inevitable long enough. Let's just get into it.
Like AEW did.
All right. So this was your main event. So AEW World Championship match. Jon Moxley defending the title against Mr. Rated R Superstar Cope. No Death Rider. Well, okay. For the majority of the match, there was no Death Riders, but we'll get into that in a little bit. So, okay. So let's talk about from when the bell rang to about the 20 to 23 minute mark of this match.
You mean a standard WWE match with a lot of rest holds?
God, I was so bored. Okay, bored's maybe not the right word, but I was like, wow, this is our main event. That's kind of sad, you guys. Like, what is happening?
This already, just the 2 minutes I've seen here, it feels paced like a WWE.
It was the most WWE AEW match you will see.
We get exchanges, a couple of big near falls. We get a back and forth on certain things. Not a lot of hardcore stuff. Obviously they can't do anything to top what happened during the night. Build to Moxley knocking the ref, getting mad at the ref, knocking the ref down. There's a visual pin on Mox by Cope, and then Wheeler Yuta appears. And we don't know, is he going to be with Cope or not? And he ends up beating the crap out of Cope.
So he realigns himself with Moxley. So I was like, what was that 2 weeks then?
So they're beating each other down. Then there's the fight back at that point, and Cope knocks down Moxley and gets Yuta knocked out. And who should appear to put more schmaltz on it but Christian Cage?
In his turtleneck.
Middle of the match, without people really being out, brings his little contract down, signs it out. So now AEW at least is getting rid of this, MacGuffin that they've had for half a year that isn't going to work.
Since August, yeah.
Well, which I'm pretty sure it was put in there to further the Luchasaurus feud with Christian Cage, and just we lost out on that because he's basically out indefinitely. But Christian Cage gets in, gives a spear, gives an impaler, gets knocked away from that, and Moxley puts Christian in the Bulldog choke to retain his title. So Cope doesn't get the loss. Christian eats it, and Mox retains.
And Christian no longer has a cash-in.
And the Death Rider storyline continues. It was too long. It did not need to be that long. You had the story set up with the schmaz, give them 15 minutes. But then, if it's a 15-minute match, you don't want that closing your show. So put it in the middle of the card and move Tony and Mariah up here and give them 20 minutes. Give them 25 minutes.
Yeah, Professor.
So Christian was just there to take this choke out?
Pretty much.
Yep. And to get rid of his MacGuffin.
Why, though?
That is the right reaction.
Oh, so Christian Cage is out. So he chokes him out. So really
Yes.
there's no... Okay, that's
But
dumb.
even still, I was like, what did Christian do to make somebody mad? Like, what happened?
Yeah, this Death Riders thing, it doesn't even feel like Moxley's idea anymore. It just feels misplaced and odd.
Here's my going forward theory Booker hat hope. This is the soft reset. They finally have gotten traction over the last couple of months. They've actually gotten their storylines in order, but this Death Riders thing and this contract have been hanging over their heads. They can now clear this out. Cope can go feud with Christian for a bit more and finish that story out. Moxley is now going to have to keep his eyes open for Swerve, who is his number one contender, and whoever else comes after that, so we can get rid of the Death Rider stuff and actually focus on building up our superstars or bringing someone back up, and we can blast this out of proportion and not have to hold on to two old men holding onto a belt.
Professor's still like...
Well, he's watching the end of the show probably, which is the go-home happy angle that Tony gave them.
Watching Mox walk away through the crowd.
And then Nana comes out.
Wait till he's in the tunnel.
Yeah, I won't spoil it. But somebody becomes, I am vengeance. I am the night. I am.
There's a lot of lights.
Yep.
Just watch. Keep watching.
Yeah. People.
But the thing about it is that this is what Tony Khan thought would make up for the fact that this had to go last.
Which, spoiler alert, Tony, no.
And Tony, no.
Tony, no.
We'll wait for Professor to be right there with us, but...
So Nana's in the tunnel.
Yeah. Here it comes. So you know something's going to happen.
The security comes out, and then...
Security comes to get Nana, because Nana's dangerous? Oh, no, they're coming to... Oh, I see.
Then you hear the Batman the Animated Series theme start as we pan upwards.
And you see who's waiting there on...
We have a Dark Knight who swerve stomps.
Oh, from the... Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I
thought
he was just chilling there.
No, keep watching. It was like 15 seconds too long of him just waiting.
Okay.
Gets up to yell at Swerve's house.
Yeah.
I don't hate that, I guess.
It's not a bad thing to make people happy, but you could have done it in the middle of the card.
This should not have ended the show. All I can say is Swerve needs to save us from this.
That final shot, it should have been the final shot of the backlit Swerve as we pan out of the thing. Right here. That's the shot. Okay, yeah. I called it. It's like I'm in the booth. All right, that's cool.
Go figure. So yes, that was the end of the night, Professor. That is what we left on after we were so extremely tired. That was at what? My time on the East Coast, 12, almost 12:30 in the morning?
And it was 9 on mine.
Yeah, waited for that.
That's a long time. Yeah.
And after being emotionally drained from the previous 3 matches.
The whole crowd was also not into this, too.
Oh, hello.
I know, needy puppy. Puppy needy.
Puppers.
Puppy's chewing on my chair like to get love. Hi. Hi.
Well, it looks like a little husky pup, so probably.
He's a wild little... Hi.
Aww.
I'm in the middle of something. Hang on.
It's okay. His opinion matters too.
His puppers.
What do you think of John Moxley? And you can
He's
hear
just
them?
like...
I don't know. Well, like we've talked about, I think with WWE doing Evolution, I think that the women are going to get their own on AEW eventually because they got to copy each other.
Better.
right? And it'll probably be really good.
Who invented women's wrestling in AEW? Because Stephanie McMahon invented women's wrestling in WWE. So
Tony Khan's gonna pass it up. It looks solid. I will rewatch what we've talked about and take a look at. I know. Hi.
Yes, you should watch those 3 matches. You do not need to watch. You've watched the finish now. You've got it. You're good.
I know you're needy. Okay, hang on 2 seconds. I'll be right there.
Easy baby. Easy baby.
So overall, I enjoyed Revolution, and despite the not fun ending of the main event, I still thought this was a very solid pay-per-view and probably one of my favorite AEW pay-per-views within the last couple of years or so.
Revolution in general always comes through for them.
Which is very harrowing because it always starts the year off, and then as we get through the year, I was like, oh God, what are we doing? But you know what? I feel like the way that I say this, and I'm going to quote our favorite personality, Simon Miller, and all this too, I think Simon put it very well despite the ending. I do think this is a reset on, we got through everything. So now AEW hopefully can start fresh with, who's next for championships and feuds and storylines and things like that. So I'm hoping that's the case because we've been needing a reset for a little bit, and it seems that we're now kind of like finding new directions to go with everyone. Tony and Mariah is done, so we shall see where that goes for both of them. Swerve is about to collide with Moxley at some point. If not at Dynasty, I would not be surprised if we get that match at Double or Nothing. Kenny is our new international champion. Okada still has the belts. The Hurt Syndicate are still in their beginning of their tag team championship run. We'll see what's next for Billy. Well, Billy Starks, hopefully. And Mercedes, there are so many
places they can go.
Yes, very much so. But that's going to be it for Grapple Gurus for AEW.
No, I was just going to say, it seems like all the storylines progressed. There's still the question marks that we kind of sort of had, but at least we're going somewhere. I agree with the soft reset. I think that's fun. It seems like Tony and Mariah were probably the match of the night. Fletcher and Ospreay right there is close second to me, but I'm excited to go watch these through.
And I'm glad you paraphrased Simon Miller that way, Mikey, because I thought you were just going to say, ow, my tongue hurts because I nearly bit through it.
He bit his tongue during his match. Oh, I love him for being honest. It's really hard to talk, you guys.
Yeah.
His tongue is all swollen. It's crazy. And Simon's going to be busy in 2 weeks too because he has his championship to defend at Progress. Fix Your Heart. So that's going to be a fun show.
But that's it for us tonight.
Yes, it is. So thank you for tuning into Grapple Gurus. So that is it for AEW Revolution. The next AEW pay-per-view is Dynasty, which is Sunday, April 6th, coming to us live from Philadelphia. So that is where that's happening.
The singlet at that point?
Well, that is the final pay-per-view. So once that's over, we're going to get your size and you fitted JVL, because at this point, I have run away as the champion for the AEW Predictions League.
Am I in the middle?
You are in the middle, so
you are part of the sandwich.
Yeah, so JVL, we will get once Dynasty is over, we will get you sized up, fitted, and I will order the thing and send it to you.
I'm looking forward for Lycra up my ass. It's going to be fun.
So I'm just excited because I get to be Mikey 2 belts because I'm also the projected winner for TNA too.
I'm going to have to wear the WWE one. I'm on the bottom for that.
Well, okay, we're not quite there with WWE yet because it is still way too close. Honestly, Professor, for you, me, and Minnie, WrestleMania is either going to make or break us because it is still way too close. We're all right there.
I'm getting hosed. I still have McMahon in my brain. I picked the McMahon plot line. I don't pick
had barely by 1 point. So I dethroned Minnie after Chamber because I got the perfect sweep, but that's because I'm the only one that picked Kevin to beat Sammy. So that's the only reason why. But yeah, so it's the official announcement, JVL, you are a lovable loser. I'm just kidding. So we will get you all situated and then stay tuned because I don't know whether to. I'm giggling so hard too because Will's going to also have to wear that.
We got to come up with our tag team name. It's going to be wonderful. Anyhow.
So, and then either myself, the Professor, or Minnie will end up wearing the singlet for WWE. And then we start all over.
Eventually, we're all just going to be in singlets because we're watching so many other things, right? There's no way no one will get no one's going to get out of this unscathed.
No. To change from the Grapple Gurus to the Lycra lads.
I'm here for that. But that is going to be it for us here tonight. This week is just still a chill week. Tomorrow evening is a double dose of reviews. We're starting off at 5:30 p.m. Pacific. The NXT Losos crew will be reviewing NXT's Roadblock, which is the TV special from tonight, and it's the final stop before we make our way and build to Stand and Deliver, NXT's biggest pay-per-view of its calendar year in April. Then later that evening at 8 p.m. Pacific, we will catch the Los Review CMLL as we review which was nothing but women's wrestling in celebration of International Women's Day that was this past Friday. So the commentary team was all women. All the matches were nothing but women's wrestling, and even the refs were all women. Like, there was not a man in sight in terms of the wrestling or on the commentary, which I was like, talk about true evolution. Then, of course, on Friday, you can catch me and Will reviewing TNA as we review the go-home show before TNA's Sacrifice. And then come back on Sunday as the WWE crew reviews a very interesting week for WWE. Raw was kind of slapping. It was great. SmackDown, we're going to find out after I watch you on Friday. But thank you so much for tuning in from myself, the Professor, JBL, and the rest of the BC WrestlePod family. Remember, take care of yourself, love one another, stay iconic, and more importantly than anything, you always deserve to finish your story. We will catch you tomorrow for NXT and CMLL.
Thank you so much for tuning in to another Vibe Tribe production. What's going to happen next time? Well, you're going to have to tune in to find out. But until then, remember, take care of yourself, love one another, and as always, make sure that you keep the good times rolling. Thank you for being here, and we'll see you next time.